Thank you for staying with Prime Edition. Now, African countries are being urged to harmonize tax policies to break free from austerity that is deepening poverty and inequality. Speakers at the regional UN tax convention led by Akina Mama Africa stated that most African countries grappling with debt and shrinking budgets have resorted to austerity as the default response.
Many African governments are faced with high debt burdens that led to budget cuts, often targeting public sector wages and social services. As a result, many African countries are struggling to uphold their social contracts, providing quality public services or finance development from domestic resources.
At times, these governments are faced with a lot of debt, and definitely debt servicing will take the first priority on our government revenues. So just maybe a case example, when you look at my country, Uganda, debt servicing consumes about 32% of the domestically collected revenues.
Speakers at the regional convening on UN tax convention led by Akina Mama Africa are calling for an end of austerity measures and fiscal consolidation, which they argue continue to be imposed on African countries.
If I can give an example here from Kenya, there was a removal of subsidies on fuel, and that immediately increased the cost of living, impacts everyone, especially those that are in the most lowest category of income levels.
You find that austerity measures usually apply on sectors and services that really affect the least of those. So that is why we are saying no to austerity. That's why we are saying no to harmful debt practices, and we call for equitable public finance management within the region.
While reduced spending plans are designed to ease debt pressures, they have instead tightened household budgets, with fewer teachers in schools and less medicine in public hospitals.
So this impacts women more because women tend to spend most of their incomes on consumables, goods like buying food and those kind of things. But also because already their incomes are so low, it means that the proportionate amount, the proportion of amount they have to pay from their income is actually much higher than someone who is in the higher income category.
They are calling for regional strategies such as harmonization of tax policies to break free from austerity that has contributed to the deepening aid trap and dependence. Governments have also been urged to cut down on wasteful and unnecessary spending.
A lot of negatory expenditure that our governments face. We'll look at the size of our parliament, more than 300 members of parliament. And when you look at the size of ministers, they all have lead cars, they are consuming government fuel and all that. So for us, it's about, if it means austerity, would you reduce spending on the negatory expenditure, the medical tourism?
Wadi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
Kenya is rallying the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa member states to eradicate non-tariff barriers. Trade Cabinet Secretary Lee Kinyanjui is also urging member states to harmonize trade policies as the bloc prepares to host the 24th COMESA Summit of Heads of State and Government in Nairobi next month.
Despite COMESA representing one of Africa's largest trading blocs with a combined population of over 600 million, interregional trade still lags behind its potential. Business leaders and policymakers have long pointed to barriers like cumbersome custom procedures, inconsistent regulatory frameworks, and roadblocks as hindrances to driving interregional trade.
They will be discussing issues relating to governance, peace, and security. Now, on the 9th, that's when we have the big D there, summit, and the summit is the head of state. There will be all the report of the various meetings will be converging and will be discussed by the head of state.
Trade Cabinet Secretary Lee Kinyanjui says Kenya will be pushing for the adoption